Yes, boom. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed today's thumbnail. Care of one of the bear family. Charlie, made me look like a bull. I thought that was quite fun. Yes. Okay. Very, very exciting. All of you in the private group are messaging, and we decided going live was a smart idea right now, just for fun. We'll catch up. It was an easy way to do it. So check this out. Bang. Okay, this is kind of fun, right? What I believe we're witnessing here is the final kind of SOS and LPS stages of our trading range for Bitcoin. Now, what's very unique about this study, and again, I'm trying to remember the idea of this heuristic, this kind of everyone buying and selling like bees almost, and maybe a bit more unwittingly than how well bees collaborate, because humans don't always necessarily appear to be collaborating at all. But we do. We are collaborating together most of the time. It appears that's how we've built such an interesting and global society. So because of that, we get the fluctuations of kind of the greed and the fear sentiments of the human psyche as time moves. And this little bit here, what is the spring? Again, we were looking for, springs can go deep sometimes, so we were looking for that. We had a very low volume spring. Boom. We moved up and above the trading range, and this is where it first kind of represents your SOS and LPS areas. So SOS and LPS. So for those of you that are studying with us, these are your signs of strength and your last points of supply. So what's really interesting here is here our sign of strength was actually indicated here and here. So we could have circled it this one blue and this one blue, effectively this line. And so for those of you that are studying along with us, one of the important parts about the Wyckoff schematics, the particulars in the supply signature comes down to something called effort versus result. And I think just in general, if you focus your thesis around understanding that you want to get the most amount of result for the least amount of effort out of almost everything that you do, that's probably one of the best ways to invest as well. So instead of making a lot of things complicated and getting in the way, which is what often trading can do, we look for really big signals around ideas like effort versus result. So here, the primary effort and the result. So here's your effort, the buying and the selling, the amount of supply that moved through the market in this particular spread. And then the spread itself, the actual price movement to the upside at that moment, which was approximately 16%. And then again, we saw the next kind of supply signature, sign of strength. And again, moved up quite nicely based off these two bigger supply bars. Okay, so what does that mean? Right now, this is the sign of strength and the last point of supply. So last points of supply. Now, here's what's also fun about many of the other times we've gone over scale and variance. Here's a very clear, much larger trading range, right? Falling wedge, boom, breakout, SOS, LPS. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen, two smaller trading ranges, technically, right? So you have the one that we would have, you can draw here, which is actually where we kind of circled here in the blue, a bit more volatile in its schematic, effectively, bang, 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 right? Whereas now we're in a very tight trading range and moving up to the upside too. So could we see a spring? Yes, we definitely could. A little bit of a last point of supply, but at this particular moment, it doesn't look like we're going to get it. And if we start to move up higher, the buying is just going to increase. They're going to run the price up. It's just the way comp man works. Because there's no supply left, the price continues to rise, and you get another bull market cycle. And they're kind of, I guess, you see it extend through the entire market. So here, at the tail end of Ethereum as well, we have a new horizontal trading range. Now, I want to go over something because this is kind of a fun aspect of the idea of scale and variance, right? So we have what appears to be a much larger trading range, this reaccumulation after decline. And we have this smaller trading range taking place up here. Now, right off the gate, it looks like it's a small distributive pattern, right? But we want to remember, like, these small distributive potential patterns here, they might have a drop down because this is actually another form of a reaccumulation, just at a smaller time frame. So I think it's healthy to see these trading ranges and understand that you're witnessing them within, like, it's like a trading, it's like a babushka doll. That's what it is. Yes, that's the best way to explain it. Trading ranges are like babushka dolls. When you're viewing them, you can find the relevance on the time structure itself, right? So based off this, we actually had a really long period of reaccumulation. And this is really, really positive because we had a bull market uptick, and instead of having a distributive moment, which could have happened here, it very easily could have happened, could have gone either way. This is always the thing about phase C and D. And this is why I'm so bullish right now, is because we've now hit all the confirmations. The very subtle, small kind of day-to-day nicky-knack of what takes place over the next little while is kind of boring to me. And I don't really like to play it. But once we saw this moment, and it's happening across the board right now. This jump across the point of control for multiple assets. You've got Ethereum. Here's Avalanche is another beautiful falling wedge. Boom, falling up, rising megaphone pattern. As soon as it breaks out of the megaphone pattern to the back of the trading range, kaboom! Yes, this is exactly what we were looking at back in March, April, May of 2020, really finding the core part of the spring. Now, the spring of March 2020 was deep. It was deep. I don't know what, maybe we'll experience something like that again, but for now, this spring is common. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on, not a whole lot of fear in the markets right now either. A low volume spring makes sense. And then look at this massive sign of supply strength coming out for Avalanche here. Now, again, this is a futures on Binance, so probably not necessarily the best place to measure, but this is a lot of new leverage positions coming into play right out of the back of the tail end. And this is usually what we see. Now, again, the unique part about Avalanche is that this just absolutely dwarfs any volume and supply that we had seen in the previous run-up too. So I think that this is kind of a clear marker that there's still a lot of interest in the kind of the base level of this market because it's still so small with so many opportunities. Solana also along that same line. Here is an area of reaccumulation. And once we saw that confirmation, that's when things have changed. We had the first break above the falling wedge. We had a small low supply signature spring, and then again first signs of strength here, and then massive sign of strength here for Solana, right? And then equivalent to the primary spring too, or the primary automatic reaction, boom, to the downside here. It's really nice to see comp man, right? So we had always talked about the footprint of the composite operator and understanding that the heuristic is not just one big player. It's actually everybody all at once interacting with being alive effectively. Okay, so because of that, you have these really sharp moves. But the consistency in the trading range is such a beautiful thing to see, right? Here, 1 inch as well, again, falling wedge, straight to the bottom of the spring, boom. And this is often why people associate the composite operator as a heuristic with manipulation in the markets, because it's very clear. Oh well, look it's the exact same thing is happening everywhere you look. So what does that mean? Well, this is the fun part about I like trying to make some conjecture around human emotion and longer time frames. So again, a lot of people are going to be, could it get dangerous? Yes. Okay, great. If we fall below the point of control too, well, then I would be very careful because the downside is that these are all scale invariant. You want to be really patient. But for now, I'm strongly bullish after we've gone to the point of control. I'll stay strongly bullish, and that's just the way it is. Now, again, you could see dips down, especially if we're on Ethereum. Yeah, so you could see a dip down, but right now it just doesn't look like it. It's such a beautiful setup. These are all just perfect, basically. I mean, look at the VPVR here. Look at the reaction. We've had no slide down this previous gap either. Not at all. This entire gap is left totally unfilled. This is great. If we stay above this part of the last part of the trading range without a huge dip, we're going to rip to 70, 80 grand within the next month or two. We'll probably spend some time between 80 and 60, and then up to 120 by December and January, and then probably a boring 3 years afterwards. At least for Bitcoin, you might see crazy pop-offs, as we can tell right now, just across the board. Cardano has been fantastic. Just a whole slew of interest in this entire sector. And again, as soon as we saw the transition over the point of control here, this is when I was like, okay, great, we're bullish. Like, that's it. just be bullish from here on out. No sense in charting little things. Not at this point. Now, a lot of you get in the idea of taking profit when you see these highs, and you should. I think what you should do is keep investing now, whatever that might be. So when you say take profit into what? Are you working on your own business? Are you investing in, like, I don't know, maybe you are a carpenter, so you're going to buy more tools so that you can, and the guys you work with can build more houses. I don't know, right? How are you taking profits? This is always such an interesting conversation, because I see most of it is continually to invest. For instance, the guitar over here, right? Like, do I take profits of the guitar? That's actually me investing in something I love to do, right? I mean, to some degree, you should consider all investing. That's why I have books. I'd like to do art. Anyways, the point of this being, when you start to see returns, right? So say you had been buying along this way, you bought some of the high, you've been buying here, and in your in relative profit, there's a few things that are right out the gate really easy. First off, your principal capital, like how much you invested. If you remove that, then there's literally zero risk on the table, and this is such a great emotional place to be. And when you're dealing with the markets that have perfected emotionally taking advantage of you, unless you get better at just being more logical with the markets, then trading is going to do nothing but hurt you. Once you have takes a few years, you can spot the market's movements relatively easily, I think, at least for macro perspectives. Try to call the day is just noise to me. I find it annoying. I have like so much stuff to do that's not trying to get in and then get out and then get in and then get out and then get in and then get out. What they're going to do is like, hey, we're bullish here. Go stay in the market for like the next 3 to 6 months. And that's about it. Anyways, and continue to invest in really interesting kind of outlandish ideas. So Serum's moved all the way back to the top of its trading range, which is super cool too. Again, I think that there's just so much positive momentum in this market. To think that this is a dead cat bounce is maybe a little silly. There's just so much interest in this space still. So I'm not sure. Usually don't see dead cat bounces go back into the top of the trading range. They usually fall lower. So right now, almost everything looks like it will remain bullish for probably the next 60 to 90 days. So that's a good cycle. Anyways, we've got some cool stuff we were going to look at with more NFT things lately, like Star Atlas. We bought a bunch of Real Fever NFTs for fun. Oh, I painted. I don't know if you guys saw this the other day, but check this out. We did a charity art piece. So for those of you that don't know, I like to draw every now and then. So we auctioned off this art piece as an NFT, and we raised $1,668 for the Territorios de Zaguates. So shout out to Bitfoot Crypto on that one. He was the winning bidder on that piece, and he decided he wanted to go to a local dog. I want to call it a sanctuary because it's like 1,500 dogs. So yeah, we're gonna hopefully go there on Sunday. Bring them the donation, and then I think every now and then I'm going to do more of these. I love these charity NFT pieces, so just for fun. I'm not sure if this one's for sale, but this is the one I'm working on right now. Check it out. This is my I don't know, face of some kind. But what I've been really digging is that you can just zoom in and look at the little detail that you can get into, and you can like hide in the bigger piece. It's so cool. So anyways. As someone who likes to paint and draw, and every now and then, like, this is so sweet. I love the iPad for drawing. It's super cool. So thanks for helping inspire me to do more artwork as well. It's a really fun way for me to create an art piece and then have it go do something positive in the world. So I can't tell you how humbling that was. That was super fantastic. So I'm gonna hit a few thoughts and questions here. Boom. Remember to like the video. YouTube doesn't like me, in case anyone wanted to know. I'm very outspoken about things I probably shouldn't be. Let's see here. Let's take a look and find where your guys' chat is. There we go. Okay. I really love your way of explaining, says Bob the Clown. Well, that's fun. I'm happy to try to express and share what I'm going through. It's always a journey. Yeah, it's fun. I got to find a way to be more consistent with YouTube. I can't keep the YouTube algorithms happy. I'm not a great YouTuber technically. So thank you guys all for those of you that do support the channel. I really appreciate you. It means we're a very eclectic, close-knit family, and for that I am deeply grateful. I was playing some guitar earlier. Did some meditating this morning. It's been a good day. Going dancing this week again, so I'm pretty stoked about that too. Christian Abbey says, "Are you taking any Avax profit on your place?" So there, that's kind of an interesting question. So just for fun, I took a trade, not an investment. Now, I think most people should practice being a good investor for like the first 5 or 10 years, because that's ultimately what's going to reward you the most. But over time, as you get better, it's easier to spot market moves or transitions. So I decided to just take out a quick little 3x trade on Avalanche. And so far, it's performed great. But the point of it wasn't really just like I could close that. I made some really fun conjecture about the idea earlier, which is effectively what happens if you make a trade, and let's say you make like $60,000 on that trade, and you close that trade. You're like, yeah, I'm taking my $60,000 profit. I got salary for the next year. This is a kind of a good functional basis. I still don't think people recognize enough the importance of doing work and providing something of value and service to your community. And that's what I am learning. That's what this is. This is like an exercise in me learning what it is that I'm also sharing while I'm explaining it to myself and you. I'm going through the process of trying to build that idea. So ultimately, if you close out the profits so that you can build and do what you want to do as a passion, I think that's ultimately like one of the primary goal points. I think that's a profit target. I don't really look at profit targets like, oh, here's a percentage of the profit I want to take from the $50,000. I don't think like that. I want to accomplish specific tasks most of the time, or like climb there's this mountain I want to go climb. It's like Chiripo. As a matter of fact, I know that I'm not going to just climb by myself. I'm going to hire somebody to show me the way of the mountain too, right? Because it makes sense. Hey, and maybe if it was the Peruvian, maybe we'd hire a Sherpa and a llama. We'd hire a llama too. But because I'm in Costa Rica, you kind of abide by the specific goal and task that you want to accomplish. So more than profit taking, I think it's like a target for something that's usually a little bit easier to anticipate. So for instance, you could be like, oh, well, this particular amount, I could just close out this trade and it pays for the driveway, the gate, and the jacuzzi you want to build or something. I don't know. What do you want to do with life? That profit taking is more of like a task orientated conversation, a goal of like happiness. Like what do I want that makes me happy? Well, I like dancing and I want an ice bath, so I'm going to need the place to dance and then jump at the bath. And so the simple things quite often, right? So how you measure that, I think, should be measured with what you're trying to accomplish more than a monetary goal, because the monetary goal can just lead to frivolous expenditures and things that don't generally make you happy. Anyways, the point of this is, I think, really finding that core basis of the work you want to do, and because that you should be doing if you're my age, still. I'm 30, let's say, I'm going to say 37. I don't know. How old do you think I am? I'm not 37. I just lied because I thought it would be entertaining to do so. But The point of this is I'm 30 something. So for how much longer can I invest? Like, okay, well, what if I even had to start over from scratch today? This thesis, this idea behind everything I kind of talk about and what I've shared to have that most result for the least amount of effort has always remained the same. Well, at least now. In the earlier years, I'm trying to trade options, buying pot stocks or some silly shit. I don't do that now. I don't focus on biochemical, although I do like doing biomedical research. I don't focus on that in my investment field. It's just way too much of a hot topic, and you can't even be right without getting censored. Okay, well, that's a no-go. So here we go. We stick to what we're good at and where we don't get censored. Kindly support your local physicians, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's see. Here's the thing. How you take that profit, whether you just keep buying. Again, we've looked back. We show that if you have enough revenue and you're generating that, you could literally be buying all the tops of Bitcoin in every cycle and just keep buying every month, and you still ultimately end up doing amazing. So why think so much about the price? And that's true of any good investment. You can just keep investing in it. Anyways, so I hope you guys find that entertaining. Let's take a look at a few of your thoughts and questions. JW says, my man, JW, good to see you. Bam. Bear Den Jerry in the house too. I love it. Do you DCA or just on the feeling you should? I try to block everything out in a budgeted segment of months, quarter, and year phrases effectively. I try to do that consistently, because otherwise you should be investing always. But what that is varies depending on your workflow, your style. Sometimes in the moments of peak fear, like I'll forever recognize that moment when something bad is happening that I should be investing, because something bad is happening and people are fearful, and they're usually irrationally selling things for cheaper than they're going to be, because so far we've recovered every time. Now there could be a time in the future when we don't recover, but I'm not going to take bets on that. If we don't recover, like I'm not taking that side of the bet. That's fine. I'm going to bet on this. I'm trying to be optimistic over here in the jungles of Costa Rica. Okay. Okay. So Bear Danger says you can have 1 million tomorrow, or if you day trade 2 million today. Yes. So I think Bear Den Jerry, will classically recognize some of these fun things. Let's actually go over that and make some pontification about a Bear Den Jerry conversation that I've had. So this is going to be a fun one. This is kind of a snapback in time. Okay, here we go. So early in the pandemic, this is the bull market cycle for Fetch.ai so far. So this is when we started screaming bull market, was in this area down here. Here's our horizontal trading ranges. This is how long we've been really focused on the Wyckoff trading ranges, is all the way since down here. This is where we started to first take our trading ranges, as this was the spring. And then here was your first test, your first SOS, and then SOS LPS, SOS LPS, SOS LPS. And then look, giant SOS, big LPS. And then look, giant SOS. So in certain areas of the market, right? Let's say you entered here, right? So Jerry and I were buying Fetch and Matic and Seller and One, all these ridiculously low prices. And you know what happened? We got up here at a 10x, and I don't know about Jerry, but I sold like a good chunk of everything I had in Fetch here. And then it came down, and I felt good about that. I felt good that it came down, but I forgot, and I never jumped back in as heavy as even remotely close to what I had in there to begin with. So what happened? Well, fuck me. What does it do? It goes up another 20 times, right? So profit taking is this kind of absurd idea that you know how well the market is going to perform over any given period of time, right? Now, we knew the bull market was starting here. Like, we got that part right. Where it ends is difficult. Taking profits, I think, again, can I achieve a goal here and get to a mountaintop? Yes. Then take those profits. Invest in your business, invest in yourself, invest in whatever like you need to build in your life to continue to maintain the ability to generate revenue, and just keep making investments in all the cool, interesting things you like. Because look, even between September, October, November of 2020, you had this very low time before, again, there was another 20x still afterwards. And that was, again, remembering that the early entries we had made in Fetch, had we just sat, would have provided a 50x. And I ended up maybe getting a fifth of that, right? So the profit taking aspect can get in the way of understanding how asymmetry works, especially if you measure it out through time and you get it right with something like Ethereum over the course of a decade. You're actually often just better off walking away. But you're not. Ultimately, we know that. You want to keep investing. So you want to keep reading, you want to keep meditating, you want to keep spending more time showing up to see, hey, what cool, interesting shit is going on in this place that I might be able to put a few grand in and have 150x, 250x return over the course of 5 to 10 years. And yes, you are going to get some of them wrong. I want those ones to go to zero from now on. Like, this part of my thesis is starting to grow into this idea where, okay, well, we just only buy. And we basically don't sell yet, ever. If we like something, we're just going to keep buying. Let's keep doing that for another 10 years. Well, I don't understand why we think this is such a short time frame. And here's the same thing. Now, again, it can be deceiving, right? Because let's say, here's Avalanche as an example. Throughout the beginning part of this bull market, when we were going over our trading ranges and our accumulation ranges of why you'd want to enter here and here, there was a huge amount of time where you were making consistent entries like bang, 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 bang. You got 4 consistent entries at $3. Had you bought $100 each, you're walking away. You're currently sitting on like $10,000 or $20,000. Now, again, the problem is you often are concerned about from here to here. Because like, this is like, I couldn't afford my jacuzzi, now I can afford my jacuzzi. So there you go, you buy your jacuzzi. You're going to do this, you're going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to fucking buy an ice bath. I'm going to build an ice bath because I miss having an ice bath in my life. And let's say I close out that trade to pay for all of the ice bath, right? And it's like, it's up 50 grand. I'm going to spend that 50 grand on the ice bath or something. Not that an ice bath costs you 50 grand or something, but I'm just pontificating, right? So adventure with me through this thought experiment. What happens then? Again, you don't fully make the reentry. You forget about it. You're a little busy in your ice bath doing Wim Hof breathing and what you should be doing technically, but you made the mistake and now it goes up. And before you know it, Avalanche is, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but just let's, for shits and giggles, Avalanche is now way up here, right? And this becomes it looks like a tiny blip on the market and you are up another 13x, right? So a $50,000 trade is now a $500,000 trade. So your ice bath cost you $500,000. So what I like to kind of promote is the idea that you can't trade this well. It's very difficult to trade this well. Like, venture capital is amazing for the fact that asymmetry plays in your favor, right? And that's why you take more than one play. It's not just, you don't want to just own a Bitcoin or Ethereum. You should maybe own Doge too, just because that's fucking ridiculous and fun to do, right? So a good investment thesis is playful. It involves research. It involves consistently showing up to trying to find new and interesting people and ideas that might change the way the world interacts and builds community and networks and creates value for one another. Ultimately, that's like a very interesting part of why we're all here. The money is a symptom and a side effect of getting a lot of the earlier stages of your research, your intuition, and your interest in those visionary ideas right. And it's your ability to be patient throughout the years, throughout people telling you that you're going to be wrong, to not imagining what the metaverse is, and then to eventually being justified and everyone like, oh yeah, cool, it's the metaverse. Of course it's going to happen. So I think that through time, it's very difficult to trade this well, first and foremost. It's much easier to just accumulate on a consistent basis and effectively walk away, especially if you're in even a remotely close age category of your 40s or 50s, right? Like if you get up to 70, you're supposed to be kind of chilling out and going traveling or something. I don't know, raising pigs, goats and llamas. That's for when you're 70. Meditating most of the day. That's like 70. Contemplative days. Like that's when you best do Vipassana a bunch. Anyways, the point of this story. I think that the ability to maintain patience, and if you just keep consistently accumulating and have a strategy that's set out through time, that effectively this is how you capture the monumental gains, and then get to enjoy them. Because otherwise, yeah, what you end up doing is the same mistakes I've made. You actually do a good job of accumulating, and then you take the first 10x, you're out, and then it's a 30 or 40x, and then you don't get back in, and then it's a 2 to 3 to 400x, and you're trying to trade on a day-to-day basis on some new thing you found because it's interesting. When again, I think that the best strategy, time and time again, tried, tested, and true. Any person, if they consistently repeat these mantras of heads I win, tails I only lose a little, and fundamentally understand the depth of a trading range, the point of transition from of the bottom of a trading range to the breakout of a trading range, you can fundamentally do really well, because even if you're late to a market, you can just be patient, go, well, great, you know what I'm going to do? I have no idea where we are, so I'm going to buy the top, and I'm going to buy here, 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 and I'm going to buy here. That's how you effectively complete that strategy, right? Because now what happens again, I'm not saying this is going to, but what happens again if you see Avalanche is up at 400, or goes up to $1,500 or some crazy shite, right? Ethereum did it. Why couldn't Avalanche? So because of that, the mistakes I made, we bought the accumulation, the early accumulation ranges, we sold too early. Taking profits was a bad idea. Now, again, I'm not saying you shouldn't take profits. I think when you do take profits, anytime you see a mountain high, you should continue to invest in yourself so that you can repeat the process of having revenue that's being generated through what you like and or find interesting and are passionate about, to keep making investments in the same things that you are passionate about and find interesting. It's a beautiful circle of research for anyone that likes to do it. Anyways, I forgot what the original question was. Oh yeah, profit taking. Yeah, everyone was like, well, I'm gonna take a 2 to 3% every time I see a 30x. There are good ways to set logical rules, like say, okay, I'm gonna take my principal out at the first like 1, 2, 3, or 5x, right? And then that way there's no risk on the table. And then if I see that afterwards, then go 30, 60, 90, I could take out 10% each of those times. So that at least you had an exit strategy for some of the 100x gains that we have seen consistently in these markets, instead of getting in, making a 10 or 20%, getting out, and then up and missing the 200x. Facts, Bear family. Anyways, okay, let's see here. Jump back into some of the ideas. Just hodl for life. Well, no, you definitely find a way to spend capital enjoying your life. That's what I'm saying. Like, you should invest in yourself and the things that you find interesting, and make that easily accessible to you so that you're happier. I think that's more important. The hodl for life aspect is that, yeah, okay, you should continue to work because you're a human being, and that's really how, like, a lot of people derive a lot of value from the acts of service of building a business. Don't negate that just because you think money's not going to solve that for you, right? You still need to do it. At least from the people I've met that have made hundreds of millions of dollars. Next ones. Yeah, Robert Yates says, invest, take out principal, stick it, the rest in the wallet, or what we call your coffee tin can, and then just keep investing. I really think that the aspects of investing as a consistent habitual pattern over the long term are so undervalued, especially in when you have venture capital. Like if it wasn't venture capital, it would be boring, right? I guess just always investing in Netflix every month or something. You'd be like, well, this fucking sucks. It would be no fun, you're right. So there are definitely aspects of venture capital research that the volatility and the kind of fun of like investing in things you know are probably also going to fail, or like could like a high degree of potential of failure, right? Like a good venture capitalist gets 7 out of 9 or 7 out of 10 things right. That's like amazing. Even 6 out of 10 things right is pretty fucking amazing. Anyways, let's see a few more thoughts and questions here. I don't want to look too much at specific charts right now. Everything is going to be kind of exploding over the next little bit. The real confirmation is going to come from Bitcoin. So that next step I'm looking for is pretty much all from Bitcoin, and everything will follow from that. So that's kind of where I'm keeping my interest at the moment. And we went over that. Everything, well, actually, I guess we can too. Just go back over Bitcoin's kind of the fundamental here. So this is ultimately what I think is going to happen. Again, as soon as we changed above the point of control, you guys will all remember I changed my mind. I said, damn, we broke above the fucking falling wedge. I'm bullish now. That's okay. It's okay to change your mind. Like I was bullish. I was bullish all the way till here. And then we got near this area. I was like, fuck, this spring could go deep. Like we've seen deep springs before on these trading ranges. So just remember that. It's always helpful to know that these springs can go deeper than you would want them to sometimes, so that you're not in a position where you get taken out of any position that you wanna actually be in. So, but once we got here, oh, this was beautiful. And then here, this is another beautiful, below the trading range, right back into the supply line here, and then boom, above into the open gap, and not filling that gap, staying above. It's staying above the previous area here. So right now, this looks very, very, very positive. I believe we're going to probably run to 70, 80,000 in very short order. And then you're going to see more explosions in things where Solana will maybe drop back down to 56 when Bitcoin's going to 80 or something, and create like a big like SOS, LPS range, boom, and then fire back up again. I think that it's going to be volatile. So yeah, you could see something similar with Avalanche too, where you have like a kick back up to like maybe $80, a slam back down to 50, and then we could carry on for one more like final kind of nonsense in December, where basically everything just goes up, and that would be the last of it, I think, for probably the next 2 to 3 years. We've just had so much positive upside in all of this sector. It needs some time to cool down after this, but yeah. It does look like we got all of our final confirmations. We've got the continuation of the bull market for another, let's say, 60 to 90 days. We'll probably jump up for another 15, 20, 30, bang, down for 20, up for 20, 30, down for 20, up for 15, and then probably fall through January, February, March. Just a rough guess. I'm not placing bets on that, but now that this low volume spring was sexy, and we had it almost everywhere too. So that was a good sign. Like the fact that we saw it on Avalanche too was nice. I feel weird about this area because I thought we were getting a reaccumulation after decline. But again, this is one of the positive strategies about having the long-term investment be the backing thesis, because ultimately all you're looking for is to just gain more assets. Because they do really, really well just by always only buying them. Anyways, still with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys all for joining us on this late evening episode. I just wanted to share. I know it's been a few days. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Bear family. I will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you for joining the late night ones here. We've got a few more great podcast guests lined up. Mona from Enzyme Finance, really cool product and project. We've got Naja Roberts helping educate people in her local communities. She was a fun guest. We've got a few more great guests lined up. Star Atlas is we're something, I don't know how I'm going to pitch. I think we're chatting with the CEO and doing something maybe with the game too. I'm going to try to figure it out. I like the NFT sector now. I get it. It makes a lot of sense to me. I'm in. Let's go. NFTs. Looks super cool. Took me a minute. I'm a little bit slow, but I figure it out. I get there. What else was there? Oh yes, trophy. For those of you that like manga, I'm not gonna get that one right at all. Manga art, magna. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna butcher that one. At least you got. For those of you that are eclectic enough, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Even if I am saying it wrong, you'll be like, "Well, this is how you." Someone's gonna type it in the chat. Oh yeah, that was it. Oh yeah, I guess on Sunday we're gonna go to the Territorios de Zaguates. Oh, actually, I'll show you guys that. So just kind of for fun, we'll take you guys through that process one more time here because we're just chilling. And it was Territorios de Zaguates. So, is it? Don't you guys just love that this, like, my show is totally unprofessional? I don't organize anything. I just we just go live, and this is what we get. Okay, so Territorios de Zaguates, the land of the strays. So we sold that one of our NFTs on OpenSea to well, actually we'll look it up on Twitter here. Yes, it was left. It was called Left versus Right. And Bitfoot Crypto won this one. So again, super huge shout out. The 1600 bucks is going to the Territorios de Zaguate. So on Sunday, I'm gonna go make the donation and hopefully make a video. They've got like 1,500 freaking dogs at this place, so it looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. So it's just like I don't know, maybe it's like a 45-minute drive away from my house. Look at all the dogs! Oh my God, there's so many dogs! Jesus, that's amazing. Definitely bring shoes that you want to step in dog poop with. Look at all the dogs. Okay, so thank you to Bitfoot Crypto for winning or bidding for this art piece, and then making it the contribution to this wonderful and interesting, I guess, dog sanctuary. This looks like dog fucking heaven. Imagine being like that, be part of a pack. Like, these dogs are all so happy. Like, all these dogs be so stoked right now. Jesus. I want to be a dog in that group. Look at them all. Anyways, so the fact that we could do something like that was is super cool. I'm going to go visit them on Sunday, so we'll hopefully pump that video out there as well. And that's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us on this wonderful ride. It's Tio the Arcane Bear. See you guys again on the next episode.